So did y'all hear about the people that are moving to Arkansas? They want to build their own town. Stop it. So did you know also that now they are begging the government to help them? They want money for housing. They want money for food. I thought you were so above everyone and you can only be white to live here. Really? Use your whiteness and all that money that you claim you have and build your own town the way you said. No one cared. No one cared that you had that land, that you only wanted white people. You had to put in an application and they can deny your application because you weren't white enough and you weren't superior enough. Oh, really? So why do you need that same government to assist you, boo? That doesn't even make good common sense. And then they claim that they're so great at building and architecture and engineering, but they're not even qualified. If you look up the qualifications in their town, they don't match. So the only qualifications it looks like they have, I'm white.
A whites only community. I keep seeing stuff across my Facebook feed that says that all these places are making white only communities. And y'all, I am so excited. I don't know about y'all, but I am so excited because I can't wait for these raggedy bastards not to be in our community anymore. Yeah, no. Make your racist ass community and then take all y'all's asses there and stay there and don't come out and, croak or whatever y'all are going to do while y'all are there. Whites only community. Get the fuck out of here. No, but no, I hope that works out for you. I hope that's exactly what you do. I hope you make this big community of only white people who hate all other colors and people that don't. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the hell goes through y'all's mind. Being racist is weird. Y'all are fucking weird. I can't imagine not liking someone because of the color of their skin. Like, I'm white, and there's hella white people that I don't like. So, yeah, no. That shit's weird behavior. But, hey, no, more power to you. I hope your white community really works out. I hope y'all go there, y'all stay there, and y'all don't ever come the fuck back out here ever again. All right, y'all have a good day.
Well, I have a problem with exclusion, to be honest. I have a problem with exclusion and just fundamentally saying somebody is different because of their religion or the color of their skin. I mean, that's my personal opinion. How is this community funded? My understanding is you have something like a GoFundMe. Can you explain that?
The actual purchase of the property was funded by the community members themselves. And up to this point, almost everything that we've done has been our own initiative, our own resources. We've put up some fundraising campaigns, like a legal fundraiser that has been very successful, and that's necessary because many people would try to attack what we're doing as illegal. I've also raised funds to fund a tour to expand our projects, not just to full-time residential communities, but also recreational areas and community centers. I think it's good for the white community to have our own spaces, just like I think the black community should have its own spaces, and the Jewish community clearly has its own spaces.
But the way you put that is that there is a black community, a Jewish community, and so on and so on and so on. And a lot of people say, that's not America anymore. That may have been America 70 years ago, but it's not today. America is a melting pot. You go to a place where I live, like Los Angeles, and there are pockets, but there's really no such thing as entire communities anymore. So that's not America anymore.
There are certainly Jewish community centers. Do you have a problem with that?
Well, I have a problem with exclusion, to be honest. I have a problem with exclusion and just fundamentally saying somebody is different because of their religion or the color of their skin. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Has everyone seen that community that's being built in America where they are only accepting white Americans into their community that they're building? And recently Sky News went over and actually interviewed these people and asked them what they were basing it off of, basically. And they said that it was just a community of people with similar ancestry to each other. I have another word for this. It's called a sundown town. And also, let's not forget to mention that the double standards are insane, because if this was the other way around and any other race was having a community and wasn't letting white people in, the outrage and the public uproar that would occur is, you can only imagine. This group said in their interview that the community was about freedom and just a community. However, it is nothing other than organised hate. The fact that this is also legal and does not fall under any regulation of discrimination and simply racism is absurd to me, but also not even slightly shocking considering the current state of the USA. And people say that the far right aren't racist or xenophobic or sexist or whatever, but then full on build a community based off race and segregate people based off race. It is genuinely very, very scary times, and the fact that this is accepted, disgraceful.
So Lands in Arkansas has a community, RTTL, Return to the Land. It's a white-only community, private members only. You cannot be black, you cannot be Jew, you cannot be Hispanic, you cannot be gay. Y'all, they're getting everything that they wanted. And they base it off of your ancestry. You have to have a certain percent of European in your blood. If you don't have it in your DNA, then you are not allowed. Honestly, they should make this a thing. Honestly, they said they are trying to make a safer community. You're making it safer for us. You're making it safer for the world, because these are the same people that we have to be around every day, okay? They will literally smile in your face and have that same thought. They really don't like you. They don't care for you. They wish you was not here, okay? And these are the business owners, the restaurant owners that tell you this is why we don't like black people. So yes, let's make a white-only community a thing. Y'all need to be around each other, okay, with that same mind. It's a very dangerous mindset. Keep those dangerous people in a community, okay? They said they have about 150 acres. That's a lot, all right? So if you have that same mindset, then that's where you need to be at. RTTL, Return to the Land. No, it sounds like Land of the Dead, if you ask me.
Hi. So they said the white-only community in Arkansas, and the Ozark, Arkansas, is growing. Well, let it continue growing. I truly believe they need to be by their damn self. The damn place is an hour away from any city. Who gives a fuck? You guys are the one that be bothering us. Like the fuck. We really don't want to be around your motherfuckers. Again, we don't want to be around your motherfuckers. You guys are the one that be bothering us. You guys are the one that keep on moving to our neighborhood at the end of the day and try to change it, because y'all can't be by your damn self. Let's see how long that we go and how far that we go. So wish you guys good luck. White only community. Y'all need to be happy about that shit. Come on, guys. Be happy. You're gonna be among your own motherfucking white people. So potato among.
So Arkansas, a state that voted overwhelmingly for Agent Orange, got hit by devastating tornadoes last month. Over 40 people died across Arkansas, Mississippi, and Missouri. Homes leveled, lives shattered. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, his former press secretary, and the entire Arkansas GOP delegation begged him for federal disaster relief. They were like, please, sir, can we have some aid? And Captain Comover said, no. Why? Because he's on a mission to dismantle FEMA. He signed an executive order to shift disaster relief responsibilities to state and local governments. This is the same guy who once said, I don't care about you, I just want your vote. And now he's proving it. So to the people of Arkansas, you voted for him, he denied you aid. It's the ultimate bait and switch. They were sold a story. Sacrifice compassion for strength. Cut help for others to save America. Screw the world. We come first. And then when they needed help, he ghosted. And still they cling. There's over $100 billion in disaster aid just sitting at FEMA. Staff are waiting for instructions because America first somehow became compassion last. I remember the last time tornadoes hit in 2023. Aid was granted within 48 hours. Different leader, different values. Because to admit they were conned would mean facing that they cheered the cruelty, thinking it made them strong. That's an identity collapse most people can't handle. So instead they double down. This isn't about politics, it's about humanity. And right now, it's in short supply.
Brothers and sisters, let's talk about this story coming out of Arkansas. There's a so-called whites-only town that has now turned to the government, literally begging for help. Now this is interesting, because for years, some of these communities isolated themselves, pushed everyone else away, and built barriers to keep their towns homogeneous. And now, when things aren't going well, they're looking for outside assistance. Today, we're going to react, break this down, and really analyze the deeper lessons behind what's happening here. So, what is this whites-only town in Arkansas? Basically, it's a town that was historically established with the idea of separation. They wanted a place where only white residents lived, which echoes the segregationist mindset that America supposedly left behind decades ago. But here we are, in 2025, and these kinds of communities still exist. Now the irony is, despite the independence they claim when reality sets in, whether that's economic downturn, lack of health care, lack of jobs, or infrastructure failing, they turn to the same government they often criticize or distance themselves from. That's the contradiction we need to unpack. To understand why this story is so fascinating, we have to look back at American history. After Reconstruction, after the Civil Rights Movement, even after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, you still had pockets of America where people resisted integration. In fact, during the 1970s and 80s, many sundown towns existed. These were towns where black people, and in some cases immigrants, were either not allowed to live or not welcome after dark. They were kept out through intimidation, violence, or discriminatory laws. Arkansas, like many southern states, has a history tied to that kind of segregation. So this current town is really just a continuation of an old ideology that thought self-isolation was the key to survival. But history shows us no community can survive by cutting itself off, especially in a globalized economy. Let's talk about economics. These towns often reject diversity, but diversity is actually what fuels economies. Immigrants, black workers, Hispanic workers, and others bring in labor, culture, innovation, and purchasing power. When you deliberately exclude groups of people, you're shrinking your economic potential. So what happens? Businesses close, young people move away, and the tax base shrinks. Suddenly, the very same towns that said, "We don't need anyone else," find themselves unable to maintain roads, schools, or hospitals, and now, they're begging for government aid. But isn't that interesting? Government, which is funded by tax dollars from the very diverse groups they don't want in their town. That means they're depending on the very people they've been excluding. It's a contradiction that can't be ignored. On one hand, they want to be separate, but on the other, they rely on the interconnectedness of society. This is the hypocrisy of trying to live in a bubble. No community, no matter how isolated, can escape needing others. Think about it. Your food comes from farmers across the country, your goods are shipped through international trade, your taxes are supported by a diverse population. So, while some towns try to pretend they can go it alone, reality eventually sets in. So what does this teach us? First, it shows us the importance of unity. Communities that embrace diversity and inclusion tend to thrive because they have multiple perspectives, skills, and resources. Second, it reminds us that racism and exclusion don't just hurt those who are excluded, they also hurt the people doing the excluding. Because when you limit who can be part of your community, you limit your future. And third, it exposes how short-sighted it is to believe in complete self-reliance without acknowledging the interdependence of modern society. Whether you like it or not, the world is connected. You know, this isn't just an American issue, there are similar examples worldwide. For instance, in South Africa, there's a town called Orania, which is almost exclusively white Afrikaner. They too try to live separate from the rest of the country. But even they face the same challenges: limited growth, limited access, and constant criticism, because in the long run, isolation is not sustainable. In contrast, countries and cities that open themselves up, like Toronto, London, New York, tend to become global economic and cultural powerhouses. Why? Because they embrace diversity as strength, not as weakness. So, when we look at this Arkansas town begging for help, we're not just looking at one isolated case, we're seeing a bigger story about the dangers of division. If you try to separate yourself from everyone else, sooner or later, you'll realize you can't stand on your own. This doesn't mean communities can't have their own identities, cultures, or traditions, but when those identities are built on exclusion and hate, the end result is always the same: decline. The lesson is clear. Survival in today's world depends on collaboration, on building bridges instead of walls. And maybe, just maybe, this moment of asking for help will be a wake-up call for that town and others like it, to realize that you can't thrive by isolating yourself from the very people who make the country strong. Brothers and sisters, let's reflect on this. What do you think about this Arkansas town? Do you see the irony in their situation? And do you think America as a whole has learned the lesson? Or are we still repeating the same mistakes of the past? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let's talk about it. If you found this breakdown educational, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more discussions like this. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power, and these stories help us understand the bigger picture of where we've been and where we're going. See you in the next episode.